Hello and welcome to the Forward Podcast. We're so glad you joined us this week and chose to tune in and listen. We appreciate that. I am back with my better half, as always.
We are here at the kitchen counter table, ready for
what?
another week.
We could be at the kitchen counter if we would buy counter stools.
We've been in this. Had to sneak that in there.
Yes, I did. We've been in this house 5 years and it hasn't gotten done.
And I always say,
we want them.
We would do. Yeah.
You would love it. Because you love if I'm like making food or something.
I do. I stand there.
You stand there and we talk.
Yeah.
This needs to happen.
We need to get stools for our. I would turn the camera around and show y'all what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But
we've got a beautiful little overhang counter, perfect spot for counter stools. But
y'all would love our kitchen, but it is
really?
a little hazy right now.
Okay.
A little smoky up in here.
Moving on.
And we don't smoke cigarettes, so what's going on, woman? What is going on? A little bit ago, we're all upstairs.
We had a catastrophe.
Yeah, I come downstairs, and I'm not exaggerating. Yeah, our kitchen is full of smoke. I'm like a little kid. Mom! I'm like, Kari! She comes running out. She's like, oh my goodness. What was it?
I was trying to food prep for school for the week, and I'll do a bunch of stuff at the same time. So I have this orange chicken from Costco that Tommy, and actually a bunch of them like it. And so I'll make up like a huge batch of it for the week and put it in little baggies for their lunch.
So it's chicken.
So I had oil. I had like an avocado oil in the bottom of the pan and then orange chicken. And I went upstairs and totally forgot about it.
Man,
totally forgot.
It.
I can't believe the smoke alarms didn't go off.
That's
it. They must be out of batteries, which is not great.
Anyways,
that's my bad.
Y'all, that's an update on the Shepherd family on this incredible night tonight. Just burning the chicken, dreaming about stools. See how good y'all have it. We make other people like, wow, we have a good life.
Yeah, I'm sure they feel sorry for us and they turn off the podcast and feel better about themselves.
They're like, man, I'm listening to that every week.
I have always said the title of my very first book will be Compare Yourself to Me, and then underneath that in small letters, you'll feel better. Like that is my book. I'm telling you.
Kara, you have a good life.
I know, but just stuff like that. Like, you're okay.
Yeah.
I almost burnt down the house over chicken tonight, so you're doing fine.
You're going to make it. You're going to make it. Well, y'all, thanks for tuning in each and every week. And we've been kind of on this mini-series on the podcast, just talking about
self-control.
Yep.
I'm sorry. That's the title of our episode tonight. We've been talking about personal responsibility and how it's very important in our culture and for our generation specifically to take on the healing role. And I say healing because it really is to own your choices and to stop blaming your childhood or your culture or your family or whatever is going on around you, and just take control of your choices and own them and have that personal responsibility.
Yeah, it also bleeds into a lot of self-control. I feel like truly nowadays is temperance in the Word of God.
Yes.
Which is being able to, there's a lot of things we really do lose our center balance on when it comes to speaking without thinking, when it comes to making really bad choices, when it comes to taking care of our bodies. There's so many areas, I feel like, in the Christian realm or just in the human realm that if we're not careful, control, we're always like, man, you have self-control. We even tell our kids, control yourself, control yourself, control yourself. And then we get to adults and we really do not. So there's kind of two ways that we could take this. And I think the first what we've talked about is kind of owning up to you're an adult now.
Yes.
And so you, at some point, which we did talk about this a little bit in our last one, but you do have to start making decisions and owning who you are now as an adult.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you, what age do you think people really ought to start working on that?
Well, in American culture, 18 is when we're considered an adult. I think historically and probably biblically, it was older than that. I've heard a lot of writers say that 30 in the Jewish culture was considered grown as far as like you're all the way responsible for yourself. Although I think 12 years old, you were considered like not a child anymore. I'm not exactly sure on how all that worked. I've read some different things. other cultures definitely, had different ages, but in American culture, it's 18. And so I do think that kind of lines up with like, it's time to start, working if you haven't, and taking ownership for your choices. I think you're mature enough at that point to make some choices. But I feel like all of us, I really do feel like it was our mid-20s when we started gaining wisdom, which is different, right? You can be smart and you can be able to make your choices, but I think it's different when you have wisdom, when you start making choices from like a spiritual and a long-term perspective.
Yeah. So I don't think actually it's any age. I really feel like you're right. 20s is when you start having wisdom and you can start truly being able to think through or critically think through decisions and who you are. And but I think as parents, we ought to start it much earlier than that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Own up to the decisions that you have made.
Mm-hmm.
Realize that there are consequences to the decisions that you make.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of on this kick right now of soft parenting, and then the other way of being too hard of a parent and
Right.
finding that middle ground. But I love both of us grew up in families where our parents, I feel like at a very young age, began to teach us what self-control is.
Mm-hmm.
And learning to live with the choices that you make.
Yeah.
And it's not never allowing a kid to fail, but when they do, walking them through, now here's some control you're going to have in your life.
Yes.
This is, by not brushing your teeth, now you have cavities.
Mm-hmm.
By not getting your homework done, now you have a bad grade. By not studying for the test, you failed. There was those consequences, and I love that both of our parents at kind of this early stage or this early age begin to really teach us that.
Yeah.
And then as you move into your 20s, you begin to realize, okay, not just automatically, but you've already had that training. Look, you have to own up. This is who you are, and these are the choices that you have made.
Yeah. One thing that we do with our kids is I don't allow them to blame me as a parent for something that was their choice. So if we have a child that, loses their phone or a, screen time or whatever, and they're like, you're so strict and that's not fair, and they're blaming me, I always sit down with them. I try very hard to sit down with them and redirect. And I'm like, hey, this is not my fault. These are your choices. If you're upset, you should be upset at yourself that you have not adhered to the rules or the boundaries that allow you to have a screen or a phone or screen time. And so consistently, I've really tried over the course of their young life to constantly redirect them mentally. And obviously they're not going to sit there because they're kids and, oh, okay, mom, but you will see the light come on occasionally where they realize, oh, this is my fault, and I think that's been very helpful, teaching them like, it's your fault because you decided to take the consequences rather than follow the rules. Yeah. And I think that was something my parents did with us a lot, was very, I remember my dad saying all the time, control yourself. Control yourself, control yourself. And we'd be crying or all emotional, and he'd say, okay, you're allowed to cry, but you control it. We weren't allowed to be frantic. We weren't allowed to like lose our minds, scream and yell at each other. Even as kids, we were not allowed to fight with one another. Absolutely not. And we were made to have control. And of course, as a kid, it just seems awful. But now I'm so thankful that dad instilled that in us, because I just see a lot of this culture having major anger issues and major anxiety issues. And I think a lot of that comes from they were never taught to control their emotions and their thoughts.
Yeah. This goes all the way back to the book of Genesis, which I believe is a true, real historical account of how we as humans came into being. And the very first sin that entered into the world, I know it's my voice. I don't need to clear it. I apologize about to lose it, but I could see you start to clear.
I'm like,
but Adam sinned, and Eve sinned, and all three of them look at other people.
Right.
And, Adam literally is like, God, it's kind of your fault because you gave me the woman, and the woman, oh, it's the snake, and
Yeah.
who the snake, who's the snake gonna blame? Oh,
Right.
I don't. So all the way back to the beginning of it's our human nature to want to blame someone else.
Yes.
And we've carried that 6,000 years later to where here we are, and you have a lot of adults making bad decisions, sinning against the God who created them, and yet it's everybody else's fault. I had such a poor upbringing, and I get, we discussed this last time. There are some areas that, man, all of our parents probably failed us in. But there does come a point where you have to own up.
Right.
I am a 42-year-old man. If I'm still blaming my mom and dad for my upbringing of 18 years, I've been out of the house longer now than I was in the house.
Yeah.
Now these are my decisions.
Right.
These are my choices. And this whole kind of massive recovery crowd out there of millennials that just can't move on, and it's always pointing back. Sometimes that becomes human nature. And yet there were consequences to all three of those, the snake and Adam and Eve. There were consequences that they had to live out for the rest of their lives on earth. There's consequences to our actions and who we are. And I really believe that starting young, and like you said, realizing, it's not my fault. You're the one that did this, does carry over into our adulthood to where we can make decisions and realize this is no one's fault.
Yeah.
Like, this is my fault.
Yeah.
Let me add one more thing to this. I really believe sometimes you have to look back. Introspective is good. It's good to look inside. It's good to look back so that you can press forward.
Yeah.
I think if you have to get counseling, get some counseling, get healing in these areas and be able to move on. But I hope that as adults, a lot of times we pin stuff on adults, parents, step parents, foster parents, and yet we never pin the good on them. We only hear and talk about the ways that we were hurt or what they did wrong or the over discipline or just didn't have a leg up, whatever it is. And yet, there's most kids, 17, 18 years we lived in a house. There was a lot of good too. I just want to kind of, even for you and I think we do by far talk about the good of our parents more than we do ways or areas that we have changed in our parenting.
Oh, yeah.
And it's being thankful for an upbringing, being thankful for parents that did love us and gave and sacrificed. And I wish we could see more of that in the world where people are like, not just every Facebook post is, I was made to do this and I was made.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they fed you and they clothed you and they loved you. And there was some areas they messed up, but there was 99% really good love in the home.
Yes.
And yet a lot of times we never bring that out.
Yeah.
And we allow that bitterness to spring up in our hearts, and it does not allow us to see the good from our own poison that we're feeding ourselves.
I think one of the most difficult forms of self-control is controlling the narrative in your own mind.
Yeah. Well, I struggle with that sometimes.
Like, honestly, seeing yourself objectively, we're the heroes of our own stories, right? Everybody is. Like, in my mind, I'm not the villain. You might be. Everybody else is, but not me. And I think sometimes it's really hard to see ourselves as the sinners that we are. And we make our upbringing the villain, our parents, our siblings. Even I know a lot of people that have suffered horrible abuses, but they objectively identify the villain, and that is Satan in this life. Yes, that person sinned against me. Yes, that person was horrible, but I'm not going to live the rest of my life underneath that darkness.
That's good.
And so they allow Satan to be the villain, and they practice forgiveness and self-control in their own minds. I've seen it over and over and over again. People move on from horrible upbringings and horrible, not even upbringings, but just, crises in their lives where they are able to control the narrative of their life story objectively.
It's good.
What a magical form of self-control.
Yeah.
I mean, you think of a veteran that's seen terrible times in war and what they have to go through mentally when they come home. And yet, how many times have we seen those men soft and beautiful and loving towards the world? I mean, it's incredible what you can accomplish when you have self-control in your own mind.
Yeah.
Not just over, your actions or the day-to-day little things, but literally what you tell yourself about your own life. It really is, it's an amazing feat to be able to do. And I think maybe some people can do it who don't know the Lord for a while, but I really think you have to be a believer and you have to have that power of the Holy Spirit and power of forgiveness through Christ to be able to effectively pull off, I am going to control my own mind and the narrative of my own life and actually live a good life after you have every reason not to.
That's really awesome
Yeah.
and very true. So we all know it's very easy to get on a podcast and to say,
Yeah.
okay, here's what everybody we need to fix this. We got to do this. So I come to the end of a lot of podcasts that I listen to and I'm like, I know that, but how do I change it?
Yeah.
I want to change time management or I want to change my diet, or you can't just say, don't eat. I get that, but how do you change it? And so we don't have anything written down on this section. So I'm just going to ask. Somebody's like, they listen to this and they say, you're right. I need ownership here. I need to change. I need to change my thinking. Where do they start? So the mom that's listening to this and they blame the way they're raising their kids on their upbringing or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
Where do you start in having self-control?
Just by the way of personal testimony, I remember it was probably 15 years ago when the kids were very small and I was struggling, with the home life and all these kids. And I remember reading the Bible and it was Paul, and forgive me, I can't remember the passage, but it's a famous one where he says, the things I want to do, I don't do.
Yeah.
And the things I,
Ought to do.
Yeah, that it's the opposite. Strike that, reverse it. But he's saying, I really want to, do right, but I don't. And I end up following my flesh. And then the opposite is true as well. And so I really read that and I thought, okay, so the formula here is when you want to do something, you do the opposite of it. And when you don't want to do something, you do it. Yeah. And most of the time, that's going to give you a form of success in self-control and in overcoming, because there were so many times as a young mom, I didn't want to go that extra mile for my husband who was on his way home. And I would remember in that moment, I really don't want to do this, so I'm going to, or with the kids, I really just want to have a lazy day and I'm just going to do this or that or whatever. But let me just push a little harder and get this accomplished so that rest feels, earned and better.
Sure.
And once I started that formula of whatever my flesh told me to do, I would allow my spirit to take control. Man, that is hard. Yeah. That's the toughest thing. But it's so true that feelings are valuable and they're real and they should be acknowledged, but they shouldn't be the leader. So many of us live by our feelings, how we feel in the moment, what we want to do. And instead, it's okay, well, that may be true. And we all want to do stuff that feels good to us, but don't let that be the driver. Yeah. Let common sense and let the Holy Spirit really and the right thing be the driver of what your actions are.
So good. I would add to that and say self-control is not suppression. It's a direction. It's not never talking about these things or just, so often we're taught, well, you just bury that down. Well, you just don't talk about it. I think that's wrong as well.
I agree.
It's not a suppression. It's a direction that you want to go in.
Yes.
So you're telling yourself, I don't want to have these thoughts anymore. Yeah. I don't want to be this person anymore. Yes. So where do I start? And I really believe it is talking through it. Mm-hmm. It is alone time with the Lord. And God, I need a direction so that I'm not living and being this person that I don't like or that I see in other people. And it comes off as complaining or whining or depressive or discouraging, negative. I don't want to be that person.
Right.
So it's allowing a mentor to speak into your life and for you to unload and just say, I don't want to complain, but here's what I'm feeling, and where am I wrong? Where do I start? What can I change? Talking to that counselor and allowing them to biblically feed you of here's how you overcome and here's how you don't live that life. And I don't want us to come across as like a very typical Christian that it's like, hey, everybody hides it because everybody's supposed to have perfect marriages and perfect kids. And you don't complain. You keep your mouth shut and you move on. It's not suppression. It's a direction. And I think the direction goes back to borrow from you. It is a mindset.
Yeah.
And that mindset needs to be let out somewhere. That's why I love that Christ said, casting all your care upon me.
Yeah.
Like, just give it to me and let me handle it. And come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden. I'll give you rest. You know, it's take my yoke upon me, learn of me. You know, all these things that Christ in the Gospels laid out for us, I believe we have to live. We need to live out. And so it's finding that direction and it's talking through it with someone. And my advice would be, don't let it be someone who's the same. That's just going to give you a pat on the back, and you have every right to complain. You have every right to be bitter, and you have every right to be mad, and you have every right to hate. That's not the person you want leading that charge in your life. Find a meek person, bold, iron sharpeth iron. Let it out. Don't suppress it. Let it out and talk through it.
Yeah.
Find a good Bible study at your church somewhere, or get with a spouse or a friend. But you don't let it be, hey, Mom, Dad, I want to talk to you. Like 30 years ago, you really hurt me. And I really feel like don't hide it, harbor it, but speak through it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. And I think that modeling really plays a big part in this. You want to follow someone and get advice and counsel from someone who models self-control, right? You don't want to get advice. I think that's what you're saying. Don't go to someone who doesn't have it together. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Find a mentor or a pastor or a friend, a counselor, somebody who models that self-control. And then if you are a parent, understand like you're not going to have kids that are self-controlled if you aren't self-controlled. I mean, how many times have we seen that in our house where we lose our temper and we're like, oh man, we were literally just upset at the kids for not being able to control their mouth to their sibling or, their temper. And then we lose it and, we're in front of them, you stinking kids, be quiet. And we're flying off the handle.
This is all you, girl. This is
Oh, really?
I am the sweetest, most humble, loving man.
Okay.
Actually, Kari never yells or gets, I'm calming you down over here.
I do yell.
Yes, and it is hilarious. Our kids even start laughing. We're like, that's it. When Kari hits her, like, it is kind of humorous. Like,
Why do you say
it's happened
that?
like 3 times in our life. And even our kids are like, Mom, like, it's just funny.
I just don't like yelling. I don't like it. It makes me, if I'm somewhere and someone yells, I'm like, I want out, get me out. Like, I hate it. I do not like
Did your
yelling.
mom never yell then?
Not really, no. Yeah. I mean, she would get, cranked up here and there, but no, she never.
That's why.
She just beat us half to death. I mean, she never made it to the yelling. She just walked in with a stick, and we were like, run! Like, here she comes.
That was so funny.
She was not about to yell at us and waste her breath. She just started swinging. So she was old school.
That was our dad. One time, we always bring it up. One time he got really upset. We were really bad in front of this family.
I love this story.
Yeah. I remember it was the Raricks came over. I haven't talked to them in years. And they came over, and I guess we were really bad. Dad set us all down, and he was so mad. He was like, you bunch of hot dogs. He called us hot dogs. I'm telling you, I don't know how many. I think there was probably like 5 or 6 of us that were, alive at the time. And we started laughing so hard. Well, then Dad got tickled. He started laughing. He's like, all right, well, do better next time. We all started laughing. But
my parents never called names. I don't ever remember them. They never called names to us kids. No, I don't even remember one time. They never said like stupid or, called us anything like that. So I just don't like that. I don't Although I did kind of yell at our kids the other day in the car because they were being so loud. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do.
We couldn't even hear ourselves.
And
think.
Lois couldn't get control. You couldn't see her. I could see her in the mirror. I kept giving her the eye, but she was holding her
was
mouth. She was laughing so hard.
Because I was mad?
Because you got a little loud. And you're like, that's it. Stop it.
I was like.
And we were like.
I turned around and said, be quiet. And I shouted like that and everyone laughed at me.
Oh, my word.
Listen, I try.
Yeah,
that
self-control.
That was like my losing it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, everyone has these problems.
We do.
Everyone
It's true.
reaches, but again, it's dealing with it. You can't just let it go. I think for everyone, it's getting that place where you have to lead your own soul. You have to lead your own self and find that direction, be that person you desire to be.
Yeah.
And start following the footsteps of Christ, who had it under control the most.
Right.
And I really believe that as adults raising the next generation will be changed by it. They will take ownership in the mistakes that they make, and they'll learn from it, and they'll be better humans by it.
Absolutely.
But it has to start with us taking that first step and taking ownership.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. Thanks for tuning in. We're excited to be with you again next week.